Follow That O'Brien Report.
On the human rights issue, though, you must admit that you have students, defenders of free speech, that you have taken strong actions against, people in jail for just speaking their minds, protesting in the streets and arrested. You can't say that Iran has open conscience to human rights, is open to human rights to all. You can't say that.
You can say these things even if I'm not here, right? So why would you need to mention it while I am here?
Because you're the head of the country and we'd like to...
It seems you are judging.
Yes.
You are judging. I asked the question. There are 2.5 million prisoners here, and why are they in prison?
They're not in prison for speaking out on the streets.
And I asked you to engage in a comparative study of this issue.
They're not in prison for holding up a sign.
In Iran, nobody is in prison because of participating in protests. Nobody went to prison because of participating in protests. Protests are free. But say if you had protests here and someone attacked the police and killed the police, would you reward them?
Of course not.
Would you reward them? Then why would you expect Iran to reward them? If anyone violates the law, the case has to go before a judge, and it has to be examined and taken care of. Why do you assume that it is only in the United States that prisoners are in prison for legal issues, legally, whereas in Iran they're in prison illegally? In Iran too, there's a legal process. There have been incidents where there were protests and people attacked the police files complaints, and the judge takes care of the issue. Now, in the United States, you're telling me those in the prison are criminals, but in Iran, those who are in prison are freedom seekers? That's awful. Why is it that U.S. authorities are always trying to support and back people who violate the law in Iran? This doesn't help the image of the United States. It just worsens it.
We're not going to resolve that. One other thing on that area. Do you still permit stoning in Iran? We've had a lot of attention paid to that lady or about that lady. Do you permit stoning lawful in Iran?
I think that I have explained this in the past couple of days to a number of other reporters. This lady's case has not been completely examined yet. No verdict has been issued yet. She is accused of murdering her husband, and I don't think that in the world, if someone is accused of murdering their husband, people would pour on the streets and rally in favor of her.
If they were going to stone her, they would.
She has been accused of the murder of her husband.
But if they were going to stone her, they would rally.
No verdict, no sentence has been passed.
All I ask
and it is not about a stoning case at all. There's no stoning sentence here at all. A person in Germany made this claim, which was untrue. Our judiciary also said that it was a false statement. Everybody knows what. But I'd like to ask a question to you, Mr. Larry King, if I may. Last year, we were here, the same time. In Pittsburgh, there was a session, the Group 20. Over 100,000 people protested against the economic policies of the G20. The police attacked them violently. Many were beaten up, or hot water was thrown on their bodies, and many were arrested. And you're telling me that protests are free in the United States? So here in the United States, do you think people can pour on the streets and protest against the Zionist regime? 100,000 people being invited to protest against the Zionist regime?
We'll be right back. back with the president of Iran. Do you have an opinion about the controversy in the United States over the building of that Islamic mosque near where the events of 9/11 took place?
I have no opinion on it. If a building is to be built, the municipal authorities or the authorities for the city have to examine it and then tell people what they think and what the decision is. So the decision is for the people of this city and its authorities to make. What decision can I make over it?
Well, you might have an opinion.
I don't have any opinion on it. I think that everybody should respect, as a general rule, places of worship, the sanctities that human beings have, and to respect divine books. That I understand.
Talks are about to take place again in the Mideast, about the Mideast. Do you have any optimism that we will see peace in that region ever?
Yes, I am very optimistic. Without hope, we cannot try harder to build a better life. I think that if people's rights are given to them, so peace will come. If the right to national sovereignty of the people of Palestine is recognized, the problems there will be resolved.
How about the guarantee of the safety of Israel and the recognition that Israel is a country? Does that have to be solved? I mean, this is both sides, isn't it? It's not just one side has to give in to create peace. It's a two-sided issue.
Do you mean that here, instead, we should sit and decide for the Palestinian people what they should want? I think that the Palestinian people should decide about that. That is their right to national sovereignty.
All right, we only have a little time left. We'll be right back with our remaining moments. A few moments left. Fidel Castro, who is not a capitalist, yesterday you said capitalism is the major problem in the world. Fidel Castro was critical of you for denying the Holocaust. He said that Iran should try to understand the unique history of anti-Semitism. How do you respond to Castro? Certainly not a friend of Israel.
A site related to the Zionist regime issued this news. Mr. Castro sent a message to me yesterday and said that it was untrue, this statement, that his statements were interpreted differently, that he had said something different. So I have no opinion here on this statement, but I'd like to ask, why is there so much insistence in the United States to absolutely defend the Zionist regime? What is the relationship between the U.S. government, 10,000 kilometers across the ocean from the Zionist regime, and the need therefore to support it? Why is it so sensitive?
Because a massive group of people were annihilated just for being what they were. 7 million were killed, 8 million. So as a humanitarian country, we care about this. And many Jews came here to live, and many Jews created a country in Israel and want to live in peace. Don't you? Now, Castro did say you should recognize anti-Semitism exists in the world, and we all should be concerned about it.
Is that the real issue, that the U.S. government wants to defend human rights?
Of course.
Well, where were these people killed? Were they killed in Palestine? By the hands of Palestinians?
It doesn't matter where they were killed, it's that fact that they were killed.
Then it's right for a million Iraqi people to be killed, and then it would be okay okay if they decide to come and occupy the United States? They were killed in Iraq. Would you allow them to come occupy the United States?
Are you saying, you're not saying the United States committed genocide? You're saying the United States committed genocide?
That's a separate discussion, and yes, it did happen in both Iraq and Afghanistan, but that's a separate issue. I'd like to ask you, if in a country someone's right is violated, they are oppressed, assuming that your assumption, your statement is correct, does that imply that they can go and occupy another land? Is there any logic in that? If we were to follow that logic, will there be any security left in the world? In World War II, 100 million or 80 million people were killed. If they were to go occupy 20 countries around the world, that would have been terrible.
The land was legally created. Israel is a legal state.
So the question is, you see, come on, the question. You just said yourself it's over the Holocaust. Why are you changing your statement? My question is, what are the interests of the United States in absolutely defending them? There are many parts of the world where human rights are violated. Do you know how many American Indians were killed? Do you know or not?
I know.
I mean, you're a reporter. You should have the answers to this.
We're out of time. We'll pick this up next year with the President of Iran. I'm Larry King. Don't go away.